experiments to do that, and among all the things, we just built a mouse. So it was our very first mouse, see? And somebody at a conference last spring hung it up like that and then looked and says, "Oh, it's a girl." And I'd never noticed. Anyway, so no one's quite sure why it got named a mouse. You know, it looked like it and all of that, and none of us would have believed that the name would have stayed with it on out into the world. But the thing none of us would have believed either is how long it took. So anyway, the experiments that were done to sort of verify that a mouse did work better in our environment. And we also experimented with a way to jiggle your knee up and down and wiggle it sideways to move the cursor so you could keep your hands on the keyboard. And I built something that you could move your head sideways and the cursor would go and your head up and down. So you could just be going like this with your hands on the keyboard. But we had many things to do, so it was kind of like diminishing returns for us to pursue on that. So, and another display system we built by the time we got a time-sharing system. First one we got was an SDS 940. And so this is the hardware here was a lot of little small CRTs, 5-inch CRTs that happened to be the most economical size for a given percentage of resolution on. And then commercial high-quality video cameras mounted with a shroud over them, normally looking at it. And so as that video signal amplified and piped out to the laboratories that provided us our display systems, and quite a racks of them like that, and it took 1.5 people sort of to keep those things running all the time. So the cost in those days of getting display systems to work with was really quite high. And there was a strategic plan, according to that framework for me, that to skip typewriters and go to displays, feeling like there's a great deal to learn about how you can harness that technology, and by the time we really learned how, the prices would be down considerably. So this was our workstations out there with a TV monitor and a little wooden table we made, and a keyboard and a mouse and a key set here. And so Licklider and I disagree on quite a few things. My framework is just different, see. I look there and say, well, we really want a detached keyboard, and we really want to fix it so what you're going to look at is positioned so it's best place to see it, and the controls you're going to do to control what the computer does to that, where it's best to have those located. And don't get caught in an anachronism of saying, because we got used to paper and pencil and that technology, that we ought to be able to have our controls right on the surface of the thing we're working on. So so all right, the key set is just one way, and it's an option, and it hits characters. When you hit chords like that, it hits characters, and that's the code. And it really is very difficult. Like my 6-year-old kids learned it in about a week of activity in those days. And who says we didn't do workstation research? So this is what we can do in here. I've got this file that's structured. If I want to see what's in there, I can walk down the hierarchy levels and see, or return. But there's another thing I can do. There's a root I said I have here. So here, I'm afraid I'll need a different picture of the view. So here's what I drew with a picture drawing capability here. It's a slight map if I start from work, and here's the route I seem to have to go to pick up all the materials. And that's my plan for getting home tonight. But if I want to, I can say, the library, what am I supposed to pick up there? I can just point to that, and oh, I see, overdue books and all. Well, there was a statement there with that name on it. Go back. What am I supposed to pick up at the drugstore? I see, very interesting. All right. Market? Oh, I've already seen that. Rather small like that. Gee, that's too much. Anyway, so we have this feature of structuring our material hierarchically, being able to move around it very well. When we get a hierarchy, such as I can show you here now, I can do things if I want to just say, I'd like to interchange produce and canned materials. Bingo. And they're all numbered rightly if I care to look. Interchanging them very quickly. Cans are going to get interchanged with produce. They do it and all gets renumbered. So I have ways of studying over, making different views, moving around, going to specified points, and modifying the structure. At the same time, I've seen that I have a repertoire of different entities, like character, knock off that character, replace the character, make that P. So I have entities of all sorts that I can say I want to do operations on, and this basic structure that I can move over and study and get about very quickly. So that is the essence now. That's the essence of the tool we have. There are a lot of details that I've left out for you. And now I'd like to stop a minute and just make sure you understand we're shifting from illustrative material to the real working stuff, in case you wouldn't recognize it otherwise. We've used this tool to do our daily work, and our system has been built, this time-sharing system, for about 6 months now. It's been working, and in that time we've gone from getting 1 console to getting about 6 working now, with 6 more due the rest of spring. This is our 4th computer in which we've had this kind of a system, so we've learned a lot about the user features we want and how to be fairly skillful. But this next step about learning how, when you're faced with having this in your office all day, as I now do, in a very exciting sense, how do you put that to work for yourself? How do you organize your files? What kind of things do you do? So to get going on this, let's switch away from the tool we have here and talk about some of the general features of the program, some of the ways it's built, and get back a little later to the nature of our usage of it. So that program involves about 17 people, together with the special laboratory facilities we have. It's sponsored by government agencies exclusively, ARPA, NASA, and RIDC now, and in the past, AFOSR and ESD, and these were the people that first grub-staked us many years ago. All right, and it's been a goal-oriented pursuit for many years, and I think we can just go off and get a quick little picture I sketched to show this is the staffing over the years from 1950 on, and it's had slightly bumpy history. During these years, there was only one of us. I go back to where I was and say, let's continue on in this file. That link took me out to a different file, to a statement for that view, and I jump back to this file where I was, and now within this file I make a link to another to say, the HIRC is pursuing these goals. Basic goal, improve the effectiveness with which individuals and organizations work at intellectual tasks. What does their effectiveness involve then? Better solutions, faster solutions. Well, what do we mean by operate? Well, compose, study, modify is the place we started now. We know there are many other analytic things you could do, but we want to get around, study, and modify. And then to further information about what does complex structure mean first. It provides for you the one-hand equivalent of what you can do with a keyboard. There are 5 keys, and normally each finger sits on a key, and depressing any one key at a time produces a character. It'll offer you a character. If I hit W, it'll say delete word. The arrow moves back and forth to give me feedback. And we've set up now audio coupling, and then we're both looking at the same display, and that'd be very handy to work. We can talk to each other and point, and maybe later I could hand you the chalk on this blackboard, like saying, here, you control it. But let's stay this mode now and add another feature that hardware-wise is available to the kind of display we have. I'd like to see you while I'm working on it. So before I can do that, I'd have to set up my display in a certain way. Set it up so I see it over like that. That leaves a corner up there, and I say, now computer, do the automatic switching that'll bring in a camera picture from the camera mounted on his console, such as the camera mounted on mine is. Hi, Bill. That's great. Now we're connected audio. You can see my work. You can point at it, and I can see your face, and we can talk. So let's do some collaborating. You're silent. Oh.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah. There's nobody here but a large audience, Bill.
All right.
All right. So